Welcome back to session 6 of this very important chapter called Human Health and Diseases. So let us study what is allergy. So for every problem there is a solution. Lymphoid organs are divided into two types. What is a very important function of skin? 50% of lymphoid tissue is marked. To session 6 of this very important chapter called Human Health and Diseases. What did we learn in last session? We studied about the structure of antibody. As you know, how important antibodies are for our body to develop the immune system in our body. Then we also studied about the two types of immunity called AMI, that is antibody mediated immunity, and CMI, that is cell mediated immunity. And also we studied about autoimmunity, vaccination and immunization, which also I am going to discuss in today's session. So what are we going to study in today's session then? In today's session, we'll be discussing about the lymphoid organs, the two types of lymphoid organs, primary lymphoid organ, secondary lymphoid organ. We'll be discussing about allergies, what are the causes or the reasons for the cause of allergy, and etc. etc. So moving on to the first slide of this session, that is about allergies. Usually in our daily life, as you know, sometimes we are allergic to certain substances. May it be like the animal dander, or it might be due to the pollen grains, or even to certain food substances, right? This is a very common phenomenon which we come across in our daily life. So let us study what is allergy. So what is allergy then? How do we define the word called allergy? Allergy is nothing but the exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment. How do we define the word called allergy then? The exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens, and these antigens are present where? In the environment. So when our body is responding to certain antigens that are present in the environment, we call that when we respond, that response is called as allergies, right? And the substances which cause allergy are called as what? Allergens. So what is allergy? Allergy is nothing but the exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment. And the substances that cause allergy are called as what? Allergens. As I said, there are many types of allergens in the environment. It might be the pollen grains, or it might be the mites, and even some of us, like when we have our pets at home, some might be even allergy to the pet animals also, or even for what we call it as animal dander. Hope you have understood what is allergy. So what is allergy? Allergy is nothing but the exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment. And the substances which cause allergy are called as what? Allergens. So what are the classical examples we are going to give for the allergens? It might be the pollen grains. Hope you might have come across the carrot grass, or what we call it as the parthenium. The pollen grains of some plants are really allergic and may cause what? Respiratory disorders or lung disorders, right? So some might be allergic to the pollen grains that are released by the plants, and some even by the mites, or even the dust particles. Like even if we are dusting a house, or even when we are cleaning a house, sometimes the dust particles, we might be allergic to the dust particles. And even for the animals, like pet animals also, we might, even the animal dander, even the hair that is found on the animals, we might be allergic to such substances. So those substances which cause allergy are called as what? Allergens. Hope you have understood the concept of allergy. So what is allergy? The exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment. And the substance which causes allergy is called as what? Allergens. What are the examples you are going to give? Pollen grain, mites, that is dust, animal dander, etc. Here hope you can see in this beautiful picture what are the causes for allergy. So even latex, you know, the milky like substance that is produced by the plants, even if that falls in the eye also, we may get allergy, or even when we touch it with our fingers, we might have that allergy. So even for the antigens, as I said, even the antigens might be any type of, it might be even pollen grain, or it might be mite, it might be the dust, right? Pollen grain, seasonal sneezing. And what are the symptoms of allergy? Like we have the sneezing, continuous sneezing is an indication of what? Allergy. It shows that we are allergic to certain substances, like even it might be to the spores that are released, right? Hay fever is also caused due to what? Allergy. And asthma. Asthma also is one such respiratory disorder which is caused due to some certain substances, even due to pollution. As you know, we are all prone to highly polluted, like air is highly polluted. So even the air pollution may also cause certain disorders, like what we call it as asthma. And some are allergic to certain substances. Even the allergic substances also may cause what? Asthma. So allergy is one such. So this concept of allergy is very, very important. So as I said, it is an exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment due to what? Due to allergens. May it be like pollen grain, mites, dust particles, or even the animal dander. So what are the symptoms of allergic reactions? So whenever we have an allergy, it comes out with certain signs and symptoms. So what are the common symptoms of these allergic reactions? So continuous sneezing. Sometimes sneezing is the first indication of an allergy. Then watery eyes. Our eyes will start watering, and running nose. So you can see the mucus coming out of the nose, and also followed by what? Difficulty in breathing. So what are the usual symptoms of allergic reactions? So whenever we have an allergy attack due to the allergens, so it comes out with certain signs and symptoms. So what are the symptoms or the signs? It might be sneezing, it might be watery eyes, it might be running nose, or it followed by difficulty in breathing. So what are the causes of allergic reactions? As I said, allergies are due to released chemicals from the body, that is histamine and serotonin, due from the mast cells, right? When these substances react with the allergens, then definitely we are going to have this allergic reactions. So to counteract these allergic reactions, so antihistamines are taken. That is like adrenaline, steroids, all this is going to reduce the allergic reactions. So for every problem there is a solution. So in our daily life we might have come across with certain allergic reactions due to certain allergens, but always there is a medication for it, like you have to take antihistamine, or you have to take adrenaline hormones or steroids, which is going to reduce the allergy symptoms. So what are the common symptoms of allergic reactions? It includes sneezing, watery eyes, runny nose, and difficulty in breathing. And as I said, why is this allergic response or allergic reaction caused? It is due to the release of chemicals like histamine and serotonin from the mast cells. And to counteract this allergic reactions, what do we need to take? We need to take antihistamines or adrenaline and steroid hormones to reduce what? To reduce the allergic reactions. Moving on to the immune system. So immune system consists of lymphoid organs, lymphoid tissues, and antibodies, and also it consists of B cells and T cells, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. So our immune system consists of what? Lymphoid organs, lymphoid tissues, then that is antibodies for B cells and T cells and T cells. So our immune system consists of all this. that is lymphoid organs, lymphoid tissues, antibodies, B cells and T cells. That is, what are the components of human immune system? What are the components? Name the components of the human immune system. Human immune system consists of what? Lymphoid organs, lymphoid cells, lymphoid tissues, antibodies. So it can what? What is the very working principle of this immune system? It recognizes the foreign antigens, responds to these and remembers them. So it helps to fight against the disease causing organisms that enter our body. So immune system consists of what? Lymphoid organs, lymphoid tissues, antibodies, B cells and T cells. Here you can see, right? So as I said, the lymphoid organs again might be, it is classified into two types. Primary lymphoid organ and secondary lymphoid organ, right? Primary lymphoid organs consist of what? Bone marrow and thymus. Secondary lymphoid organ consists of spleen, then it consists of Peyer's patches of small intestine, appendix, etc. etc. Here you can see, right? Lymph nodes, that is thymus. Here you can see thymus just beneath the breastbone, right? On near the heart, beneath the breastbone. Tonsils. Tonsil also is an example for what? Tonsil is an example for secondary lymphoid organs. Now let us study one by one about these lymphoid organs. So as I said, the components of human immune system consist of lymphoid organs, cells, tissues, antibodies. Cells means B cells and T cells. Then as I said, it recognizes the foreign antigens, responds to these and remembers them. So all this you can see here, the Peyer's patches. As I said, the lymphoid organs are divided into two types. What are they? Primary lymphoid organ and secondary lymphoid organs. What are the examples you are going to give for primary lymphoid organs? That is bone marrow, then thymus. Then for secondary lymphoid organs, the largest organ, that is spleen, tonsils, then Peyer's patches in small intestine, right? Appendix. All these are the examples for secondary lymphoid organ. Here you can see lymph nodes, thymus, tonsils, and bone marrow, then the spleen. You know what is bone marrow? The substance that is found in the bone is called as what? Bone marrow. Then inguinal lymph nodes, right? Appendix, Peyer's patches. Now let us study one by one. What are the lymphoid organs? What are the secondary lymphoid organs? So lymphoid organs, as I already said, the organs in which origin or maturation and proliferation of lymphocytes occur are called lymphoid organs. Right. So the production and the maturation of the lymphocytes will take place in the lymphoid organs, hence the name lymphoid organs. Right. So lymphoid organs are of two types. What are they? Primary lymphoid organs and secondary lymphoid organs. As I said, the production and the maturation of the lymphocytes will take place in these organs. Based on the production and maturation, we differentiate the lymphoid organs into two types. That is the primary lymphoid organs and secondary lymphoid organs. So moving on to the first one, that is the primary lymphoid organs. The organs in which the immature lymphocytes differentiate into antigens sensitive lymphocytes is called primary lymphoid organs. So what are primary lymphoid organs? The organs which in which immature lymphocytes differentiate into what? Into antigen sensitive lymphocytes. They are called as primary lymphoid organs. What is a classical example you are going to give for primary lymphoid organs? That is bone marrow and thymus. What is secondary lymphoid organs? These organs provide sites for the reaction of lymphocytes with the antigen, which then proliferate. That is, the proliferation and differentiation takes place here. That is, here production and maturation of lymphocytes takes place. Lymphocytes takes place where? In bone marrow and thymus. Here the B cells are produced and matured in bone marrow. In bone marrow. I repeat, that is, the B cells are produced and matured in bone marrow, whereas the T cells, T lymphocytes are produced in bone marrow, but matures in thymus. See the difference here. So as I said, that is, the production and the maturation of lymphocytes will take place in bone marrow and thymus in case of primary lymphoid organs. As I said, the B lymphocytes are produced and matured in bone marrow, whereas the T lymphocytes are produced in bone marrow, but the maturation takes place where? In the thymus. Such organs you call it as primary lymphoid organs. So as I said, what is the secondary lymphoid organ? These organs provide sites for interaction of lymphocytes, that is, both the proliferation, that is, the multiplication, and differentiation. Takes place in these organs, that is, a secondary lymphoid organs. So what are the examples you are going to give? Here it is. The example is, already it is here, bone marrow and thymus gland. Here the examples for the secondary lymphoid organs include spleen, tonsils, Peyer's patches in small intestine, and also appendix. So here what happens? In the production and the maturation of the lymphocytes takes place in bone marrow and thymus. That is, the B lymphocytes are produced in bone marrow and matured also in the bone marrow. Whereas in case of T lymphocytes are produced in the bone marrow, but maturation takes place in the thymus. Moving on to the secondary lymphoid organ, what are the examples you are going to give? Spleen, tonsils, Peyer's patches in small intestine, appendix. Now we are going to study about the spleen also. Hope you have understood what are lymphoid organs, what are the two types of lymphoid organs, and what is the difference between the primary lymphoid organ and the secondary lymphoid organ. Moving on to the functions of lymph nodes. So what are lymph nodes? You can see in this picture. The lymph nodes, here you can see. Right. So this is the diagrammatic representation of lymph nodes. Here you can see the lymph nodes. Right. So what are the functions of lymph nodes? Lymph nodes serve to trap the microorganisms. What are the microorganisms otherwise called? The antigens. So lymph nodes also act as what? They act as a defensive mechanism to fight against the disease-causing organism. Why? Because they are going to trap the microorganisms which is going to enter our body. Right. So which happens to get into the lymph and tissue fluid. So they are going to engulf the antigens or the foreign particles through phagocytosis. So lymph nodes serve to trap the microorganisms or antigens which happens to get into the lymph and the tissue fluid. So lymph node also play a very great role in causing what? In fighting against the disease causing organism and also helping in the immune system. So now let us, as I said, spleen is an example of secondary lymphoid organs. Here you can see the spleen, right, which is the largest organ, right. Here you can see the spleen. So what is the function of the spleen then? It filters, it's a large organ which filters blood-borne microorganisms. So what is the very important function of spleen? Even spleen also helps in defense mechanism, fighting against the disease causing organism. So what does it do? It filters the blood-borne microorganisms. So along with the blood, the microorganisms would have been present. So it is going to filter or engulf all the microorganisms that is found in the blood. So it is also very useful in fighting against the disease causing organism. So as I said, it is not only that, it not only filters the blood-borne microorganism, it is also a large reservoir of erythrocytes, RBC cells. It's a storage organ, we can say. It's a reservoir of erythrocytes, that is the RBC. And also it stores what? Matured B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. So it is also a storage organ for what? For B cells and T cells, right, which fights against the disease causing organisms. So what is spleen? Spleen is a very important secondary lymphoid organ, and it filters what? Blood-borne microorganism, and it is a large reservoir of what? Reservoir of erythrocytes, that is the RBC, and it stores what? Matured B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Hope you have understood what is the very important function of spleen. So it filters what? Blood-borne microorganisms. It is a large reservoir of what? Erythrocytes. It stores what? Matured B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Moving on to the next very important concept called MALT. Yes, what is the expansion of MALT? Mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. MALT is called mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. Where do you come across? It is a lymphoid tissue located within the lining of the respiratory, digestive and urinogenital tract. So where do you come across? What is the expansion of MALT? It is called mucosal associated lymphoid tissue, which is found in the lining of the respiratory, the digestive and the urinogenital tract, and it constitutes about 50% of lymphoid tissue. So 50% of lymphoid tissue is MALT, that is mucosal associated lymphoid tissue, which is found in the lining of the respiratory, digestive and the urinogenital tract. Next, moving on, this expansion is very important. They might ask for 1 mark question. Mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. Associated lymphoid tissue. Moving on, already we have discussed in the last session about this vaccination and immunization, right? Now once again we'll just brief up as to what is vaccination. What is vaccination? It is a process of administration of any vaccine containing what? Antigenic proteins of the pathogens. So it contains the antigenic proteins that is going to kill the antigen, that is the disease causing organism, the pathogens. Right. So it is a process of administration of any vaccine containing antigenic proteins of the pathogens, or as I said, how are the vaccines prepared? Prepared by taking the inactivated or weakened pathogens only into the body to develop what? To develop active immunity is called vaccination. So what is vaccination? Vaccination is a process of administration of any vaccine containing antigenic proteins of the pathogens or inactivated or weakened pathogens into the body to develop what? To develop active immunity is called vaccination. Now moving on to immunization. What is immunization then? It is the process by which a person develops immunity due to vaccination. As I said, vaccination immunization is what? Right from the right from the birth of the child is kept on an immunization program. So it is the process by which a person develops immunity due to vaccination or administration of performed antibodies or antitoxins. So in anticipation we might get the disease. Right, TB is such one disease which we may get during a course of a lifetime. Right, so in order to prevent ourselves, so as I said, in India, where the child after the second day of the child's birth, they are given BCG and also DPT. Why all these vaccines are given? In order to, in anticipation that in future course of a lifetime we may get these diseases. So in order to protect ourselves from these diseases, so this immunization program is kept, and this is one of very important concept of Louis Pasteur, right? Immunization program, sterilization, pasteurization, immunization, all these are the concepts which was put forward by Louis Pasteur, right? So what is vaccination and what is immunization? So what is vaccination? It is a process of administering any vaccine containing antigenic proteins of the pathogens or inactivated or weakened pathogens into the body to develop what? To develop active immunity. Then what is immunization? It is a process by which a person develops immunity due to vaccination or administration of performed that is preformed antibodies or antitoxins. Right. Hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained in today's session. As I said, all the points what we are discussing in this particular chapter called Human Health and Disease is very, very important from knowledge point of view, and particularly at this point of coronavirus pandemic. What are we going to study in the coming session then? In the coming session, we are going to study about a very, very important disease, that is about AIDS. So as we have already discussed in the previous sessions that AIDS is a sexually transmitted diseases, and we have a lot of misconceptions about this particular disease. So we'll be studying about how, as we know, it is caused by a virus called HIV virus. What is the mode of transmission of this disease? All that we are going to study in the coming session. That is about, so when we expand AIDS, it is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Then we are also going to study about the life cycle of the HIV virus and the mode of transmission of HIV virus. Then, as I said, we are going to study about the life cycle of HIV virus, how it is going to infect a body. So what are the infective stages of HIV virus? All that in detail we are going to study. And also we are going to study about the mention, that is about the methods of preventing AIDS. So we are going to mention about the methods to prevent AIDS. So this session is very, very important. The coming session will be quite interesting and also very important from knowledge point of view. As I said, definitely you are going to get one question from this particular concept called AIDS in your PU board question paper, right? So hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained. So in the coming sessions, I will be dealing with this very important concept called AIDS. Till then, goodbye and thank you.